Is he there?
Yeah, we are there. How are you doing?
Okay. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good.
Very
We're
good.
very happy to do this interview. I've
Yeah,
heard,
yeah.
we have heard Roberto Vanni before this interview, and
Mhm.
he greets you a lot.
Oh yes, please do hug him back from me.
Yes,
We go
sure.
way back. Yeah, right.
First question, can you
Mhm.
talk about Freak Guitar Camp and what do you hope a guy learns from this experience?
Well, the Freak Guitar Camp is kind of my baby, my heart and soul. It's where I put most of the work I do, and it's really exclusive in the way that we don't really have any streaming. We're just isolated in the Swedish woods without Wi-Fi and everything, and it's a fantastic thing. And I adore the campers for traveling a long way. They come from near and far and sort of allowing me to do this. But what I want people to take away is I hope they get inspired. I hope they kind of get a perspective on how should I say, a broader perspective
Yeah.
of music and life. And it's not about licks and learn how to play fast, but understanding music. And as I've said many times, music is life and life is music. And the camp is just as much about, you know, uh, being alive on planet Earth and trying to be a good human and love and peace and understanding. And that goes, together with the camp. So it's a complete overkill when it comes to learning. We have a 72-page booklet this year with many, many notes, and it's way too much to sort of grasp and fathom in only 6 days. But that's the point. You kind of do this, how should I say, overdo it. It's like a muscle, you have to break it down in
Yeah,
order
good training.
to make it stronger. Yeah. So for me, it's a fantastic thing. It's a lot of work. I work like from 4 or 5 in the morning every day, 7 days a week to try to put the camp together. I take like after the camp is done, where the camp is in 3 weeks. But when it's done, I kind of rest a little bit and make sure, get some proper sleep, get a massage, and then I begin charging the batteries again. And from the beginning of the year, I constantly work with the camp, everything from answering emails to writing music, and it's a lot of work, but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic thing, and this is the 27th year in a row. 27 years. How old are you?
I'm 21.
25.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. You would have been 8 years, the
Yeah.
first camp. So it's really cool. I love it. I love it. It's my heart and soul, my baby. So yeah.
Okay, Matthias, second question. Let's talk about Freak Guitar Lab.
Yes.
What are the special qualities your instruments must have?
Well, the most important thing is playability. It has to look cool, of course, but playability and balance and sound and everything. It took a long time. We worked kind of secretly. Nobody knew about this. We were doing prototype after prototype, and we like hit brick walls and begin from the beginning and so on. But now, all of a sudden, we kind of, oh, this is good. This is great. This is a very well balanced guitar. And then we experimented with doing a elliptical neck, which means it's it's thinner in the high end and thicker in the low end. So that makes it really super duper easy to play for being an 8-string guitar. I have to have this, the push volume knob.
Yeah.
And it's also, you can take the neck. I don't know if you see this. You can take the neck off as many times as you like because it's got this is a Swedish word. It's called rampamuffar. You pretty much screw it into like a metal insert. I mean, it doesn't go into the wood. So if you go on vacation, there's no room, you have a screaming family, and you have one Samsonite bag, you can take the neck off and just put the guitar, and then you will, it will be in perfect fit when you put it back on. So So this is a fabulous guitar, and also with the true temperament frets, with the funny frets that makes it in tune in every position of the neck. So this is my dream guitar. If we only made like one guitar, I would still, be super happy. Now we have a lot of customers, but it's a fantastic instrument, and I couldn't be happier. And it's got Swedish wood, Swedish steel, Johan Lundgren pickups. I don't know if you see that. And the neck pickup is a custom pickup, and it's the best pickup I've ever played. It's very rich in tone and everything. So yeah, it's a fantastic guitar.
Absolutely killer guitar.
Yeah, very, very beautiful.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like to keep it simple, and I don't want it to look like a spaceship. And I often think to myself, even though I do quirky stuff and I do odd time things, and lots of well, how should I say, outlandish things, I am still a rock and roller. I think like, okay, what would Angus Young go on stage with? What would James Hetfield go on stage with? Well, probably not a spaceship kind of looking guitar or ridiculous or this and that. I'm a rock person, so I just wanted to be a rock and roll guitar, but also with great finesse. And it's like a chamber orchestra, really. When you play an 8-string guitar, you have so many colors on your palette, so to speak. So yeah, so I'm super happy with it, very happy.
Your style is very technical, but it's also very personal. What are your secrets to create a unique style?
Oh, thank you. I don't know. Be true to yourself. Don't spend your life on YouTube looking at other guitar players all the time. There's lots to learn from other players, and of course, listening to music. But I don't listen a lot to guitar music. I never have. I listen to songs, actual songs, compositions. That's why I go back to AC/DC and stuff like that all the times, because I like the groove and so on. Of course, when I was a teenage guy, I listened to the same stuff in the 80s that everybody else did, Yngwie Malmsteen and Steve Vai and Satriani and Eddie Van Halen, of course. But Van Halen was like a songwriter to me more than a guitar hero. His guitar playing was fantastic, but the songs were even cooler, So it's not like I listened to it for the solo. So I think, stay true to yourself, be fearless. Don't worry what your neighbor or best friend, thinks of your playing, and don't chase likes. It doesn't matter. Do follow your own path and walk the road less traveled, so to speak. So I think it's really important to be, true to yourself. If you think it sounds good, well, then it is good. Even if you play backwards or upside down, or what you do doesn't really fit into whatever kind of guitar community and stuff like that. I've always been way out there doing my own thing, and I don't care. I want people to listen to it. I want people to like it, obviously. But I also don't worry that, they may find it tricky, the whoever is listening to my stuff. I just do it because I find it interesting, and hopefully there is someone who likes it, and there usually is. So be fearless. That's the one thing, I think. So yeah.
The next question is, what are the 3 elements that a good guitar tone must have for you?
A good guitar tone. I tune this guitar to the low E string it's in E. The low string is in E, so it's EA, which is like a bass guitar, So it has to be. I mean, it's not a bass guitar, but it's the same pitch, and I have to have a lot of low end, very solid low end. But I also need the juicy mids in order to actually hear the sound. I'm not, how should I say, a typical heavy metal guitar player when it comes to sound. My sound is kind of hard to play with, actually. There's a lot of mid, it's not that scooped out kind of shape. There's a lot of mid in the, to get it in your face. Otherwise, you can have a lot of guitar in your recorders, but you still won't be able to hear what notes you're actually playing, so the juicy mids are important. And of course, good high end, but not too much, because the more distortion you put into your sound, the tinier the sound will be. The less distortion you have, the bigger the sound. Again, that's why AC/DC sounds so good, because it's rarely any distortion. They kind of hit the distortion from hitting the strings, or produce the distortion from hitting the strings. So my sound is not as easy as it seems to be to play to. It's kind of hard, but that's how you kind of get it through the speakers. So yeah, lots of low end, good mid, and that's it, I guess.
A true rock tone.
Yes.
What's the
Yes.
difference between digital amps and real tube amps for you, and what do you think about it?
I think it's a good question. Both digital and analog or tube amps have their benefits, or good sides or bad sides, and so on. Plugging into a stack, whatever, your Marshall or Laney stack or Mesa stack or whatever, is a beautiful thing. And a lot of kids today who only grew up with the Axe effects, or Helix or Kemper or what have you, they will never get to experience this, because it's unlikely that you buy a big stack and put into your parents' bedroom or whatever. But it's a beautiful thing to have that muscle, and a hardworking, well-mic'd tube amp, it's very hard to beat. The tone you can get from that is fantastic. On the other hand, I went to digital a bunch of years back, after played 8-string guitars for many years through a tube amp. I got really tired of it, and by mistake, I have friends at Line 6 and Yamaha, and at a clinic they didn't have the amps I was supposed to use, a Laney amp, so I got to try a Line 6 amp. And at first it was like, oh, this digital shit, and I don't like that, and it's fake, and so on. But then I thought, oh, good Lord, this is actually very good. It's very distinct, and it's in your face, and it's solid, and it's always the same. So I realized playing 8-string guitars, it's better to use a digital amp. And for me, the Helix that I use with Line 6 and my friends at Line 6, it made my life a lot easier. You may not think it's super sexy to go on a big festival and you don't have, a stack or whatever. You have in-ears, and you have a tiny little device on that you put your little foot on to change sound. But it's very, reliable, and it's, you know what you will have in your ears. And I love the sound, and through a PA, it sounds fantastic. And also I record with that. I still have a bunch of Laneys here. So every once in a while I plug it in and use it. And it's, it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's both sides have their own charm. But the Helix is fantastic, because it's in your face when you play an 8-string guitar and tune as as low as I do. A cabinet doesn't really like the low E. It goes, vibrating and so on. So I'm super happy with my Helix, and I will continue to use this. So, and now they even have a new one, the Helix Stadium or something like
Helix
that.
Stadium,
I have to
yeah.
check out. Yeah, I have to check it out eventually. So, and they're super cool. Both Laney and Helix, the Line 6 guys, they provide things for the camp, and they've always been super supportive. So, but I really like the tone of the Helix, and it's very easy to use, big colors and everything. Some modelers are just really complicated. You turn them on, it's like, okay, what am I going to do here? I have to have a PhD just to find, a good amp or whatever. It never ends, So, but the Helix is, oh, okay, well, this sounds good. Thank you. Save. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your advice for young players who want to work in the music business?
Ooh, well, that's a tricky one. I've been in the music business since I was 19 years old, and I've only lived on my own, music, my own strange tunes since I was 19. I never actually had a real full-time job, believe it or not. Um, It's not easy. It takes a lot of work. But if you do this because you love to play music, and not playing music is no option. You do this because you have a profound passion in playing music or composing music. Composing music is my ultimate kick. To do something from scratch and build something, and at the end of the day or end of the week or end of the month, you lean back and you say, holy shit, I did something. Nobody, did this before. Or this is a song that belongs to me. I find it fascinating. I find it, how should I say it? It's almost like a miracle. It's magic that you can do that. And that's my ultimate kick. And that provides me with enough energy to survive show business and all the bullshit that you have to deal with. There are many, many, many fantastic things. We just played Hellfest in France, which was an insanely big festival, very hot, about thousands and thousands of people getting off to your music. There were circle pits and all kinds of weird things, wall of death. No dying, thank God. And for that, I'm super grateful that I'm able to do that. But in order to get to Hellfest, you have to travel for hours and hours and hours, and you have to pay for this and that, and overweight, and it's not as romantic as it seems. There's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, this is the life I've chosen. And I think, again, don't chase quick attention. People want immediate result today, but if you do this because you like music, then you should allow yourself to walk the long road less traveled, as I've said before, because I'd say 9 out of 10 things will be failures. It will go against you. You have a gig, oh, it got canceled. You jump on a plane, no, the plane is not there, that got canceled. Everything gets canceled, everything is moved. There's always the money side of things. I have bills as everybody else, so I need to get paid. But for some reason, I've survived this, and it's better than ever. People of my generation, they often sit home and complain because they have a box of CDs and nobody's buying a CD. It's like, oh, I can't survive on this. Yes, you can. Adapt or die. You have to adjust all the time to where do my music make profit now? And I've said this in many interviews, and people don't think it's true, but it is true. I make more money now from my music than I ever had. How is that possible? Spotify takes it all. No, they don't. Of course, it could be even better, but I'm not complaining. But because for me, it's like, well, people actually listen to that, and I don't have 10 million streams a month, but bits and pieces here and there. Oh, somebody bought the album on Apple Music. Oh, somebody bought it on Amazon Music, and oh, people are streaming here. There's a new song, then there is a spike, and so on. So little by little, I make money from my music, and I'm a family provider. I sit in my studio that I paid for my house. I have a couple of cars. I have 2 very hungry dogs of 80 kilos that eat for about 500 euros every month. I have a wife. I have an 18-year-old son, and I pay for it all by just playing my own strange music. And if I can do it, you can do it too. But it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and be careful. I talk a lot, sorry. Be careful what you do with your energy, because you only have this amount of energy. You can't buy new energy. You have this, and choose carefully what you do with it. Don't waste it on bullocks. Don't waste it on spending your day on TikTok. Every day counts. What you do today matters in the future, and so on. So I think, stay true to yourself again, and don't sign any papers that you don't understand. I have no signed paper with anyone, no one. And then I have my right hand, my manager. We don't really have any paper. We just shake hands, and he's sorting out business for me. I work with a lot of companies, Helix, Laney, DR Strings. I used to work with Comparison Guitars. Just a handshake. No paperwork. They send me stuff for free, and we work together. I do good, and they do good for me. It goes both ways. So don't be an asshole. And if you have your 5 minutes of fame, realize that everything goes up and down. There will also be a flip side, and failure can be tough. to handle, when you're on the very top, or I have many views on my TikTok, whatever post. It doesn't really matter. The next one will probably not generate as many, and it doesn't matter. That's life. You do this because you like music, and music will protect you from all the bullshit of the show business. So, oh, good God, I talk a lot. I'm sorry, but that's probably why you called me. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Mattias.
very much for this interview. Thank you very much.